Which guns should you have? In a perfect world, all of them. As the wise man said, gun control means controlling yourself, so you only buy one gun when you go to the store. It is not a perfect world, so you cannot have them all. So, which guns should you have? All guns are fun to shoot. However, different situations, such as hunting or self-defense, will impact those decisions. We are going to review handguns, shotguns, carbines, and rifles to look at what is best. Handguns, a mainstay of many households. Very easy to store, very easy to carry, and ammunition is not really expensive.
Oh my God! Wow!
First factor is size. Whatever will be comfortable for you, and also whether you're gonna use it for concealed carry or not. For the range or hunting, full size is great. However, if you're gonna use it for concealed carry, you should look for something lighter and smaller. This will help making it comfortable and also easier to conceal. Next question will be revolvers or pistols. Semi-auto pistols are very popular because they're easy to shoot. And they also have large capacity, many rounds in the magazine. However, they require a fair amount of training to be able to lock and load them, especially if you're in a stressful situation. Also, because of all the moving parts, there's always a small risk of malfunction. This won't matter too much at the range, but for self-defense it could be very critical. Revolvers, they're great, especially the modern revolvers. They are simple to use and there are no many moving parts, so they're much less likely to malfunction. Single action looks really cool at the range, but it's useless in self-defense situations. So I shoot my revolvers all the time in double action. Double action also makes it safer as it requires much more pressure to pull the trigger. On the downside, revolvers are very slow to reload. However, a lot of the newer revolvers have 8 rounds in them, and that really helps a lot. As to caliber, it's a compromise between easy to shoot and efficiency, especially for self-defense. I personally use 38 Special in my revolvers and 9mm in my pistols for self-defense. Otherwise, I shoot many different rounds from 357 Magnum on revolver or 45 on pistols. A whole range of rounds are available. Effective range, I would say about 25 yards for fun and 10 to maybe 15 yards for self-defense. Shotguns. Many of us have grown up with shotguns in the house, whether for fun, hunting, or self-defense. They basically come in 2 categories. Manual, basically the classic pump shotgun. They're very reliable and they also make that click sound that we all love. The downside is they have limited capacity, maybe 7 or 8 rounds. They are also slow to reload and have significant recoil. Semi-auto shotguns, same issues in terms of recoil, but they have the ability to send much faster multiple rounds downrange for devastating effect. Some of those have multiple tubes, allowing up to 15 rounds in the gun. Others, especially the more modern ones, have magazines for them, so it makes the reloading much faster. This is probably why John Wick has enjoyed it in a lot of the movies. As to caliber, whether it's for self-defense, hunting at short distances, or just having fun destroying things in your backyard, double-aught buck is the best. If you have a very strong target, such as a bear wearing body armor, then slugs will be great. However, you might have to massage your shoulder afterwards. Effective range, about 50 yards for fun, about 20-25 yards for self-defense. Carbines. My favorites for fun and home defense, and also a great symbol of America's freedom. They're relatively light, they have large capacity, they're easy to reload, and they're a lot of fun to shoot. If the end of times happen, I can only have one gun, it would probably be a carbine. Carbines come in many different sizes and shapes and calibers. The most popular ones are based on the American icon, the AR-15. By the way, the AR-15 stands for Armalite Model 15, not assault rifles, the term that the gun grabbers created because it sounds so much more scary. Ooh. Carbines come in very different models with also a lot of different lengths in barrels. Another type of carbine is the bullpup, where the magazine is, to simplify, behind the trigger. That allows for shorter carbines, so easier to use inside the structure. As to calibers, many options, starting with the 9mm, easy to shoot, very little recoil, and relatively low penetration. The most common caliber is the 5.56 or the 223 variant. Effective range for me up to 300 yards, whether it's for fun or self-defense. If you have a really big house and you need 300 yards for self-defense. Personally, I love the more recent Blackout calibers, especially with subsonic ammo, which makes them very quiet. First, the 300 Blackout, my favorite. Effective range 70 to 100 yards with subsonic ammo. With regular supersonic ammo, 200 yards. 8.6 Blackout, bigger and more powerful. Great for bigger game. Effective range 100 yards with subsonic ammo. With regular supersonic ammo, 200-250 yards. Rifles, my favorites. If you want to shoot at longer distances for fun, hunting or sniping, there are plenty of great options depending on the distance that you're trying to reach effectively. In those distances, by the way, accessories, not just the rifle, will matter a lot. Things such as the scope, high quality ammunition, rear bag, wind measurer, everything. Starting with small platform type of rifles, I love the 6mm ARC. It has great ballistic, it is very precise, it has very little recoil, and I use it very reliably up to 700 yards. For up to 1100 yards, I love the 6.5 Creedmoor. It has great ballistics and it is much easier on the shoulder than a 308. Also, if you use larger bullets, I usually use 140 grain. It's a great caliber for hunting. Also, obviously, you should not be hunting at 1,000 yards, but it's still a great caliber for shorter distances. For beyond 1,000 yards and up to about 1,500 yards, I love the 338 Lapua Magnum. Great ballistic and great power. For reaching into the great beyond, I love my 416 Barrett. Amazing power, great ballistics, so awesome combination for the great beyond. I love the 416 Barrett. It is very powerful and has great ballistics. Perfect combination if you need to reach out and touch something a really long way away. In conclusion, so many choices and so many great options. Keep in mind, fun is really important, but also the circumstances depending on which use you have for the gun and which distance and which target you're gonna use the gun for.